Good morning. Today is New Year's Day, January 1st, 2022, and welcome to a new edition and a new year of the Purpose-Driven CEO. Today on the Purpose-Driven CEO, we are going to talk about a little secret that I think I have uncovered called the transparency secret. And I'm going to get into that in just a moment, but I want to take a moment to give a shout out to my buddy Cameron Walker. Cam is the CEO of Habitat for Humanity here in Tulsa. Their website is greencountryhabitat.org, and they do an amazing job of getting families into their very own home that could otherwise never make it happen. They teach them saving and budgeting and finances to make sure they're ready. They bring in volunteers to build these homes in a much lower cost fashion than normal. And the net result is wonderful families who just have not had the chance to save a whole lot of money or make a whole lot of money, but are very, very diligent and wonderful people, have a chance to move into their own home. It is amazing. So I encourage you, if your company is interested in maybe going out on a build where you actually help build one of these homes, they help you do this step by step. It is so cool to actually frame the house for these people. You get to meet the family. Very, very cool. So anyway, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Habitat for the great job that they do here in Oklahoma. Now, let's move into, as we start this new year, I think it's a great time for renewal, for a new way of thinking. And one of the new ideas that I want to present to you as we begin 2022 is the transparency secret. Now, I believe there are certain myths that we have all learned during our lives about leadership and what leadership should look like. And I think a lot of people think that great leaders have to be drivers, they have to be really tough, they have to kind of maintain a distance from their employees. You just don't want to get too close to your employees on a personal level. They need to be kind of scary. You need to have all the answers. The leader is supposed to be the smartest one. And a lot of times they use fear and intimidation to get the results that they are wanting within their organization or company. I know there is no right way to lead, okay? I fully understand that it depends upon the situation. You will see, I'm thinking about certain college coaches who have great success at a high school and college level, and then maybe they go into the pros and really, really struggle. Our leadership methods have to adapt. There's no question about that. And even in the life of Regent Bank, I remember early when we are struggling for survival, a more of a command and control type of leadership was necessary because we just could not afford to make a mistake. If we made a big mistake, we were going to go out of business. There weren't very many of us. We had to kind of get our processes and systems in place. And so command and control made a little bit more sense early on, where we basically just tell everybody what to do and how to do it. As we have progressed as an organization, however, we become more empowering and more hands-off, and I have learned one leadership secret that I think may be for us the key above all else. I would say generosity is one very, very important principle that we have practiced, but I believe transparency is equally as important, and I want to kind of explain this to you. Let me go back years ago in my career. I used to work at a bank with a friend of mine named JP, and he and I would go run in the mornings on the golf course there in our community. Now, we would have to get ahead of it because the golf course would spray sewer water in the mornings, and so if we weren't right on time and running fast enough, it could get a little bit stinky out there. But when we were on time, it was really, really fun, and we stayed ahead of it, and we were typically upwind. But we would talk a lot about the fact that we never really knew what was going on within our company. All of the knowledge about the future of the company, all of the ideas, all of the strategic direction was all held within the mind of really one person and maybe two. And we would talk about, we wish we could have some more input into that, but nobody ever really asked us what we thought. What I have found is that the old Robert S. Kerr quote about, Robert S. Kerr was a real famous politician here in Oklahoma, very influential Speaker of the House in Washington, D.C., and he once said, "I never was for anything that I wasn't in on." And what that means is we don't like being on the outside looking in. We like to be on the inside and know what is going on. And within our organization, that takes the form of total transparency. We have a core value that is always be truthful and transparent, and that not only means between each other, with our clients, but it also means from the executive team. We want to be completely open about everything that is going on within our organization. So that means we offer full transparency of financials, of our strategy, of our performance. There is nothing that is a secret within our organization except for individual salaries. Now, I have not figured out a good way. We know what the salary ranges are for each position and all that, but I just that always seems to go a little bit over the line to share anybody's individual compensation. But aside from that, truly, there is really nothing that we don't share with the entire organization. Now, to do this, you have to make a decision to fully trust your employees. Do you believe that you can trust them with this type of information? And I would offer to you that employees are much more intuitive than we realize. They know what's going on, whether we want to tell them or not. But the problem is they're going to make up their own assumptions if we are not fully open and honest with them. And a lot of times those assumptions may be inaccurate. So let me tell you what this looks like. So first and foremost, in an earlier podcast, we talk about traction and the management operating system. We run the bank on an every 90-day time frame. We go off site. We talk about what's working and not working. We come back with up to 7 corporate strategic priorities, and we share all that with the employees when we come back. We have a monthly employee meeting where we discuss all of our financials, all of our strategies, everything we are working on, and we discuss how each market is doing very openly. Sometimes that can be a little bit uncomfortable if you're in a market that's not doing as well and somebody else is killing it, but all we're doing is talking about your market versus your plan and how you were doing. And it can be very motivating, and everybody understands everything that is going on. We also have a stakeholders program. It's basically a profit sharing program if we achieve certain goals, and we talk about those as well and how corporate and each of our now 6 markets, almost 7 markets, are doing in each of those areas. We have a Tuesday talk every Tuesday from 8:50 to 9. It's basically like a virtual employee huddle. And I will, in each of those, talk about our numbers, talk about areas where we are doing well, areas where we are struggling, and try to be fully transparent in real time. This is something we're doing every single week with all of our employees. We make decisions as an executive team. So I include all of our C-level executives, all of our market presidents, in a discussion around strategic issues. I don't try to make the decisions myself. I think we make better decisions together, and that is another way of showing full transparency. We make all performance transparent. As was mentioned, we post and share performance bank-wide, not only by market, but by position. So we have for certain production positions, like loan officers, business developers, personal bankers, we share the performance of those positions with everybody. Every loan officer understands how they match up compared to the other loan officers throughout Regent Bank. Same with personal bankers, same with business developers. And we celebrate those who are doing very well. We don't ever call attention to those who are at the bottom of the list, but they know who they are, and it is motivating to them to want to not be at the bottom. We have a key performance indicator report that has all of the numbers from all of the markets and divisions within the bank, how we've performed in our margin and in our fee income and how we're doing according to budget, and everybody sees that as well. And then finally, I think that it is important as a leader to learn the art of vulnerability. I think we have to realize that I think all those myths at the beginning that I mentioned are not true. I think today people don't want leaders that are distant and tough and mean and think they have all the answers. I think people want leaders who listen, leaders who trust them and can be trusted, leaders that are open, leaders that are vulnerable, leaders that ask their opinions. And so we do this really in three ways. Of course, at the executive level, we meet every other week and every 90 days to get their opinion on what's working and not working. We also have a quarterly senior management team meeting where all of our next level of senior officers get together and we ask them the same exact things, tell us what we can be doing better. And then all of our employees have an annual corporate culture survey. They should be having regular meetings with their managers, and they have what is called Coffee with Nick, which is basically a time for them to get together with our HR director to share their thoughts as well. So we are getting we're giving complete information, and we are getting feedback all the time from everybody within the organization. So you should never be on a morning run with your buddy and feel like nobody is listening to you or you don't know what's going on within our organization, because it's very, very open, very, very honest. So what this does, the net result is it creates tremendous trust and buy-in with your team. It's very, very different. They feel like part of it. They're in on stuff. They understand what is happening. We're all one team. It's not one dictator telling all of the rest of the team what to do. And I think that has been a huge reason for the success that we have seen at Regent Bank. So part of being a purpose-driven CEO is sharing that purpose and making sure everybody in the organization is on the same page. I hope this helps you as we move into a very exciting 2022. I want to encourage you to manage your thinking as we move into 2022. Let's don't allow COVID or headlines or Russia or anything like that to derail us. Let's focus on what we can control, and let's prioritize well, and let's have our best year ever in 2022. Thank you so much for joining the Purpose Driven CEO.